We're bringing the action to you in pretty much the same way. Chris McCarthy joins me today. Chris, welcome along. Looking forward to this?
Yep, a pleasure to be alongside you, Andrew. Everyone loves a bit of Rallycross, doesn't it? Real quick fire racing, and the format we have today is going to be really exciting. These, the 6 best of 76,000 entries, I think it was. So, yeah. We're gonna be in good hands, I think it's fair to say.
It was very, very closely fought indeed. We've got some highlights for you at the semi-finals coming up shortly. But in terms of the format today, we're going to be visiting different tracks. We're headed to Killarney, South Africa for 2 races over 4 laps. Then we're heading to Hell in Norway. Then Yas Marina, Abu Dhabi, 2 races for 4 laps. And the final is going to be at Liddon Hill over 6 laps. It's random weather. These guys you may have seen already this morning. We've got a big crowd here. I know you guys can't see that at home. We've got a big crowd sitting watching the action. They've been practicing in different weather conditions. They've been running through their settings. They're not going to get that information on the final weather until just before they go. So they're going to be sitting here making sure they get those settings right. So there you go. That's a look at the crowd for you guys at home. Here in, that's it, wave. They're waving. That's what we like to see. Everybody waving for our cameraman up here on stage. But we should introduce to you our finalists. So let's head across to pod number 1. So for the people who are in the hall here, this is on the far left-hand side of the stage. That is Kylian Del Olmo. So Kylian, give us a wave. That's it. Give him a cheer, guys. He's made it all the way to the final of the World Series. From France, SDL_Kinu is his gamer tag. He qualified on the PS4 platform. In pod number 2, Alexandre Huss, also French. Big cheer for Alex, please. SDL_Shooter is his username. He did very well last time out as well. Some of these guys did very well on Dirt 4 Championships too. Dorian Baptiste, another Frenchman. The whole of the left side of the stage. The French drivers. There we are. Coming across the desk to driver number 4. So Daniel Johansson, Swedish driver, username 221, qualified on Steam. And then we have driver number 5, Dave Marshall from the UK. Big cheer there, racing at home. DM Racing 66 was his user, and then at the far end, Lucas Mattia. So Lucas Mattia from the Czech Republic is ERT said Mickey. So he's got a long username, but he's looking for a short time today. So that is our 6 drivers. You guys are free to jump into your pods. There's a shot of the stage. You can see they're going to get themselves in and get themselves ready. So please do give them a big cheer once they're taking those wins, guys. This is what they're up for. So we've got our winner's trophy in the middle here. We've got gold, silver, bronze. They're also going to be, the winner will get $2,500 US. P2 gets $1,500 US. P3 $1,000 US. They're going to get Giorgio Piola watches. Giorgio Piola is the guy who does those fantastic drawings in Autosport, the F1 cars. Some unbelievable prizes.
Yes, fantastic. I'm in the wrong seat, aren't I?
Oh, definitely.
I'd rather be going for the $2.5 grand.
I did try and qualify, but I was not good enough, I'm afraid. I had a couple of goes and I was absolutely miles off the pace. So P4, 5 and 6 will also get a shift chronograph watch from Giorgio Piola as well. So great to have our partners on board for the prize, and of course being brought to you with our fantastic equipment up on stage here. We've got Playseat and Thrustmaster equipment. It's identical across the stage for all of these drivers. So you've seen the drivers. Now we need to take a quick look at how they got to where they are. So here's a look back at some of the action from the quarterfinals and the semi-finals. So we were racing in Bikanjeki in Latvia last time out. Rainy conditions for the drivers. Tricky turn 1. We saw a few people run wide, as we often do in the World Rallycross Championship. Chris, it was pretty fraught action, and it was super close as well. And
with mixed conditions today, this just shows what we could have if we were to have mixed conditions at any point today. You can see how easy it is to throw away a result in Rallycross. One mistake like that and your race is essentially over.
And we saw a few mistakes this morning as well in free practice. So say the drivers getting the cars dialed in terms of setup. I was looking at how intricate they go with it. They've all got pictures on their iPhones from when they've been sitting at home running through the settings. So they're going to be trying to get those dialed in to just take every tenth they can. We saw one of the joker merges here in Latvia was literally tenths apart.
Yeah, and of course these the first 6 races is all about qualifying for that last race at Liddon Hill, and qualifying towards the inside is going to be very important there, I think. So there you can see what the first corner's like. That just shows how important it is to be on that pole position. You can see how much of a gap you can get at the start of a race.
Yeah, absolutely, and Chris is dead right there. So basically the whole championship will be decided by that 6-lap race at Liddon Hill. So the guys are going to be under enormous pressure to make sure they get the TQ, the top qualifier spot, sit on the inside at Liddon Hill. Of course, it's got a first corner joker there, so they're likely to want to take the standard lap if they get the best start possible. Up until that point, all these races, the 2 races at Killarney, the 2 races at Hell, and the 2 races at Abu Dhabi are all about getting those grid positions for the final run. So consistency is going to be important, but I think some of these guys are going to go all out as well.
Yeah, massively. I think you can just see watching the highlights here how much, if you haven't watched Rallycross before, you really do have to get your elbows out quite literally. And I think when there's a World Series at stake and only one race to decide it, it's going to be absolute chaos.
Now have a look here. This is SDL_Quinto coming around, and this was the Joker merge which we were talking about, which was so close. And in fact, it was our man Alexander Housas in pod number 2 who just made the cut there at Latvia, and our friend missing out. His brother, though, is here, and then we're going to be able to go and have a chat with them in a moment. We've got a little bit more action for you from Latvia, but we're going to go and have a chat with one of our finalist brothers in a minute. I'm guessing the finalists are feeling pretty nervous now. I'm looking across at them. I don't know, they're chilling in their seats. Yeah, I'm getting the odd nod. Some of them are playing it cool. Chris, you had the finals yesterday for WEC, didn't you? How were the drivers there?
Oh, super nervous, as you can imagine, but once these guys get in the seat and get in the zone, everything else kind of zones out. But here we can have a look at Dave Marshall actually back in the semi-finals, and if you're here cheering for the UK drivers, that is the one you want to be cheering for. Dave Marshall in pod number 5. So he had a very good run there, so I'm sure he'll be hoping to take a win on home soil. He's going to have a lot of the crowd behind him, I'm sure.
Yeah, racing at home, there it is. Sideways through the hairpin at Bikinyeki. Nice to have visited a few of the different venues, and I say today we're heading down to Lydden Hill for the final, which is a recent piece of downloadable content from Codemasters. Fantastic title, Dirt Rally 2, of course, following on from the original Dirt Rally. In between we had Dirt 4, responsible too for the F1 game, so great stuff. Down towards the finish line, this was the end of our semi-finals. Dave Marshall coming through to make it to the final here as one of our 6 drivers. So that's our 6 drivers. That's roughly how they got there. It was super close between them. We've got one of the Dal Olmo brothers. So over in pod number 1, Kilian Dal Olmo made it through, of course, to the final. But alongside him there is Quinton Dal Olmo with Katie Munnings. Now, Katie's reporting for us from the pits with these guys. Katie didn't quite make the cut, did he, Quinton? Super close.
Yeah, Quinto, 76,000 entrants. So close, nearly made it to the finals. You qualified in rally and rallycross to the semi-finals. We saw some of your highlights just now. How does it feel to be here supporting your brother?
I'm really happy for you. Of course, I'm disappointed for my result, but now we give everything for Kilian, and I'm very happy for him. We train a lot. I know he's fast, so now it will all depend on the start and contact. I will stay behind him to make the strategy for him, help him to keep calm and keep control, and let's see what is going on. But I know it's fast.
And as a driver, obviously you want to compete. You want to be on this stage driving. Next year, will we see you?
Yeah, of course, because now it's been 2 years that I don't have the result that I want. I know I'm fast and I can't prove my speed. So of course I will race next year.
Perfect. So let's get the racing underway. Back to you, Andrew.
Quinton as well. I know you guys didn't have the audio there in the arena, so apologies in the arena. They didn't have the audio from our roaming camera, so we'll see what we can do to get that fixed. I think you guys would have got it at home. But basically, Quinton was saying he was really disappointed not to make the cut, but he's here in full support of his brother. And Chris, that can't be discounted, the amount of support he's going to give his brother in terms of tactics, setup, and practice at home as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's always good to have an extra pair of hands with you, isn't it? And I saw him next to the rig earlier, helping get that set up ready, and just watching to see where he thought his brother could improve maybe in around the circuit. So I'm sure he's going to be very nervous as well, watching his brother. He's
just left to the side of the stage as well, so now his brother's on his own. Our 6 finalists on their own, the headphones are on, and I think they are just about ready to go. So it won't be long before we are underway with the first of our races. It's going to be from Killarney in South Africa, and if you're a big World Rallycross fan, you'll know that the championship came to quite a close end. We went into the final race, the 196th race of the year, with Andreas Backer and Timmy Hansen on the front row, separated by 3 points. It was winner takes all, and they came together in turn 6. And if you're on social media much, that's still quite a contentious point, isn't it? Whether you're a Hansen or a Backerud fan, I think that one's going to go on. It's a little bit like Senna and Prost. It's going to run and run as to who you think was at fault there. Anyway, we are ready to go, so let's get down and have a look at the grid for the first of our races. Killarney International Raceway, just outside Cape Town in South Africa. 0.66 of a mile. This is the grid. Now, we should explain the grids for these races have been separated as fairly as possible to see the drivers get a chance on the front row, the second row, and the back row. So they're randomised to a point, but we've made sure that everybody has an equal opportunity. So on the front row, Kilian Delolmo and Alexandra Huss. Row 2, Dorian Baptiste and Daniel Johansson. And row 3 is Dave Marshall and Lucas Mattia.
Yep, that is the grid. And of course, I think the first heat, I think it's just important really to have a clean race, get through, get off to a good start. That will settle the nerves of any driver. If you start with a bad result, then that's going to put you on the back foot and may lead you to making some mistakes in the next one. Try
and relieve that pressure. You can see up at the far end there, that's Kilian Delolmo in pod number 1. Quick wipe of the eyes, getting himself fully focused. In terms of car colours, so these guys, we have special liveries here which have been developed by Codemasters for the World Championship. I think they're going to be available as downloadable content soon. Kilian Delolmo will be in the red car. We have Alexandra Huss in blue. We have Dorian Baptiste in yellow. Daniel Johansson green, Dave Marshall purple, and Lucas Mattia will be in black. The drivers will stay in those cars throughout the competition. They are all in the Peugeot 208 World Rallycross car, which won the World Rallycross Championship last year. Here we go then, first race underway off the line. It's Kilian Delolmo on the inside down towards turn 1. Gets a decent start, not going to be outbrake, trying to go around the outside. Alexandra Huss is sideways, losing place. Daniel Johansson up the inside of Kilian Delolmo. Johansson making the whole shot into turn 2. Delolmo sideways, clips the tyres on the inside. And it's Johansson who leads, a spin in the background there. Dorian Baptiste goes round.
Just about recovered it in the end, I think, Dorian Baptiste, so a good save for him. He's kept himself in contention, but another incident, unfortunately, that looks like Mattia had a bit of a spin. Baptiste with nowhere to go, so well, those two may look to try and take the Joker lap early and get that cleared now, but as for Johansson, Delolmo and Huss, they've escaped out front, and it looks like Dave Marshall is the first of the drivers to take the Joker.
Yeah, they've all gone Joker on the first lap. Pretty standard tactics. If you don't get a decent start, you need to get that alternative lap done straight away. If you're not familiar with Rallycross, you have to do one Joker lap per race, so this is a 4-lap race. Be interested to see now whether or not Huss decides to respond and go Joker now to protect his position. Chris will just stay out because he's the one who's in the most danger, but to be honest, with a 6-second gap, these front 3 guys are pretty safe.
Yeah, Huss, it wouldn't be a bad tactic to go for that because Delolmo's
gone on this lap. So Kilian Delolmo's gone in straight away from a strong position out front, sideways in the background, almost into Backer and Hansen's wall there. Dorian Baptiste. Long run through turn 1, getting the car rotated early. It's important, isn't it, through that long, difficult right-hander to get the car turned in ready for the gravel section, be straight and find the traction.
Yeah, very difficult circuit in places. This one was actually practicing it earlier in the week, but it looks like Johansson has settled into this one nicely. He's got a gap of 1 second. You can see on the top right-hand side of your screen the positions and the gaps as well between the drivers. So Johansson doing very well. He'll be very comfortable out front. We'll have to keep an eye now on what Delolmo can do and whether he can close the gap down to the 2 leaders.
So you're seeing the fight at the minute between Dave Marshall and Lucas Mattia. Lucas Mattia in the black car, Dave Marshall in the purple one. We'll try and get you across those car colours so you can keep an eye on yourself. Look at that table mounting in the background. Proper bit of work from Cody's there in terms of they head to these different places, take photos of the circuits, it's GPS coordinates of it all. This is literally exactly what it looks like if you're lucky enough to head down there and see the race in person. So close between these two. Look at the difference in driver style. You can see there a lot of handbrake being used by Johansson just sitting to our left here. They've got the Thrustmaster handbrake to the right. They're using paddle shift on the steering wheels and Kilian Delolmo's taken it from Johansson. We're still seeing that battle further back and an accident at the finish line. Close. Runs it back and loses a couple of positions. Was that Huss or was it Marshall? I think it might have been Marshall. No, it's Huss, yeah. Alexandra Huss loses a couple of places, clipping that barrier. You said it, it's tricky at the end of this. The couple of points on this circuit, very narrow, particularly the last chicane and the chicane heading down the hill. But Kilian Delolmo, the Frenchman, over in pod number 1, takes the first race. Thank you. Big round of applause in the arena here. Daniel Johansson gets P2. And we'll get that up onto our timing board here. So we've got scores in the middle. So the scoring for this section of the competition is going to work like it works in the World Rallycross Championship. So we're going to have 50 points for a win, then it's 45, 42, then 40, 39, 38. We're going to add those points up as we go through the course of qualifying. So the person with the most points at the end of qualifying, it's not about race time, it's about race position, is going to be the guy who gets TQ. Top qualifier, pole on the inside. We've got 2 tracks with our first corner Joker. Of course, one of those is Lydden Hill. I think we are about to head down and have a catch up with our winning driver in a moment. Are we ready? Maybe we are, not sure. So good win for Kilian Delolmo. Yes, we are. So Katie's over there with Kilian now. I'm sure he'll be pleased with that.
Yeah, so some proper teamwork here from the brothers. Quinto's going to translate for us. Did that go to plan? You took the win right at the end?
Est-ce que tu avais prévu de gagner la première course?
J'étais parti pour, mais après j'ai vu que j'étais parti pour et du coup je me suis dit que je pouvais la gagner.
So he started in the first place, so it was a good advantage for this track. But bad start, but a good tactic on the jockey lap, and it was quite good because he knows that it's faster on this track.
So making advantage of that pole position here for the first race, looking to see if he can continue that good luck through the next races. So back to you guys, Andrew.
You guys in the arena, I know, can't hear the audio off the camera. We are working on that. They've got it on the stream at home. Basically, his brother translating for us because his brother speaks really good English, and Quinton was saying that he was very, very happy from the pole to be able to make advantage of that. Chris, I think that speaks volumes for how important it is to try and get the pole for Liddon Hill.
Yeah, it's just proven there, wasn't it? Getting caught at the back. We saw a couple of incidents towards the back of the field with 5th and 6th place coming together through the chicane on the first lap. So it just shows if you put yourself at the back, yes, you've got a bit of time to try and come through, maybe take the joker and use that as an advantage to get that out the way early and then try and get some pace after that with a clear track. But if someone crashes in front of you, which is so easy to do through the tight chicanes, you can see if you crash through those, you literally come to a dead stop. So it just goes to show it might not even be your fault, but you can get caught out through someone else's mistake.
Anything can happen. It is Rallycross very much, even when we're playing on dirt game instead of in real life. So a win for Kylian Del Olmo from the pole. Making a few notes up here. We're going to see if we can figure out whether or not the pole is going to be as much of an advantage as we think it is. Don't forget as well, though, when we go to tracks like Norway and Liddon Hill and we've got a joker in the first corner, it very much changes the tactics as to how you take that joker lap. We might see both sides of the grid split left and right. So this time then, Lucas Mattia on the pole with Dave Marshall alongside, Daniel Johansson on row 2 with Dorian Baptiste, Alexandra Huss and Kylian Del Olmo. So Kylian from the front row of the grid to the back row this time round. And Alexandra Huss was indeed, in fact, Dorian Baptiste, Daniel Johansson on the middle row again. So we've had a grid flip this time, and the guys who are on the back row are on to the front. This one again is at Killarney in South Africa. The drivers I know are in the service area now doing their settings, and they're getting themselves ready to go, and the conditions have changed. So they get across the bottom of the screen, they get a notification which tells them in-game, as you do if you guys play at home, what the weather conditions are. And this time it's heavy rain. So completely different. It was tricky enough in the dry, but this is going to make a big difference to the amount of mistakes that get made.
Yeah, that's it. That's just trying to stay out of trouble, isn't it? Try and get a clean start, try and get a break over the rest of the field. But if you thought the cars were going sideways in that dry race, it's going to be times 10 in this second one, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And contact makes a big difference too. If you get a tiny nudge in the dry, just like in real life, you can maybe hold on to it. If you get a little bit of a nudge in the wet, then we can see people off the track. So we do have driver stewards out the back. We've got Will Treguth, who is here, and he is a GT3 racer in real life, and he's also a sim racer, and he's going to be our driver judge, basically. So we've got people on stage, you can see at the front here, are keeping an eye on what's going on. If we think there's been any behaviour, I mean, Rallycross, surely there wouldn't be any contact or behaviour which was contentious. There we are. And we'll have to see whether or not anything gets investigated. Hopefully not. We want to see nice, clean racing. I was kind of hoping the final this year might have gone all 6 laps down in South Africa. It just went 6 corners in the end. There we go. Right, we're nearly ready. Say drivers have got their settings good to go. I think they have 2 minutes to do that. They all look pretty relaxed, which probably means they're all in the lobby. So again, if you race online, you'll be familiar with that. You're waiting for the other players to be ready to take their turn. 4 more laps of Killarney in South Africa, but this time in heavy rain.
Yep, it's going to be interesting to see that switch. And Andrew, yourself, of course, doing the World Rallycross, what do you make of the track selection and how it's been lined up?
I think it's nice. We've got a couple of classics and a couple of the new ones as well. So yeah. I think it's good. I mean, it'd be interesting to see Abu Dhabi and see whether or not we managed to find any rain there. I suspect not. That would be tough ask. There's Dave Marshall, in pod number 5. British driver racing at home in front of a British crowd, so mostly British crowd. I'm sure we've got some. I can see we've got some people from in the crowd here, not from the UK. We've got people who've flown in to support the various different esports teams, professional teams. Some of these guys, Dave, though I know, has been racing on his own. I was speaking to him earlier this morning. He was saying some of the guys who've got teammates, they'll run through the settings. 4 or 5 drivers will do 20 hours each on settings to try and find the best setup for the car, whereas Dave's had to do it on his own because he's not part of one of the big esports outfits.
Yeah, well, it puts them on the back foot slightly, but I think it just goes to show the quality of these drivers, that even without that extra help, you can still get to this stage. And looks like Dave races with no shoes as well.
Green light off the front row. Brilliant start for Dave Marshall. Trying to get the whole shot down towards turn one. Bit of contact in the background, but it is Dave Marshall who's in the lead into turn one. Going to try and hold on to that. It's about trying to keep it safe here. Almost a nudge from behind. Kylian Del Olmo is on the inside of Lucas Mattia. Lucas Mattia runs wide, almost into the barrier. Contact between those two. Down towards now the chicane. So it's Dave Marshall leading still. The blue car and the purple car pretty similar. It's Alexander Huss who's dropped to the back of the pack. Straight into the Joker lap goes Daniel Johansson. Good decision, I think.
Yeah, very good. Got caught on the outside there. That was very good from Kylian Del Olmo through the chicane. Was on the outside and just managed to hold his line to keep that second place. But I think it was a good decision from Johansson. Huss had a very bad start. He seemed to get caught up around turn one somewhere, but you can see the difference now in the wet conditions. Very hard here. Great on board with Lucas Mattia, but up front, Dave Marshall now coming under some pressure from Kylian Del Olmo.
So Kylian Del Olmo from the back row of the grid, remember, was on pole last time out one, has a look up the inside. Dave Marshall runs a bit wide. Marshall, no, in fact, has gone Joker, so Marshall takes a different line. Goes Joker early in the race. Kylian Del Olmo on the standard lap, looking for the merge now. Dave Marshall coming out looking to merge alongside Lucas Mattia. We're going to miss that. We're seeing Kylian Del Olmo come through in the lead. Who's got P2? Marshall's taken the Joker but drops down to third. So Lucas Mattia up to second but still with that Joker to do. So Dave, interestingly, has taken the pressure away. Do you think he was feeling contact might take him out?
I think he maybe thought a battle was about to start and that might delay them and push him into the path of Lucas Mattia. He just managed to time it well, so he'd come out just ahead of Dorian Baptiste, who still has to take the Joker. So Dave Marshall in a very good position here now if he can keep it clean, and Dorian Baptiste goes Joker himself.
Baptiste.
Oh, and we got a spin. Sorry, that Lucas Mattia, I think, almost having a spin just ahead in second.
They rotate the car quite hard, don't they, on the inside line. Kylian Del Olmo up towards turn one. Look at the graphics, fantastic stuff from Cody's, I have to say. The standing water on the track and very, very tricky conditions. Hardest part of this circuit for me is the section which our leader Kylian Del Olmo is coming up to now. So getting on the brakes and through the chicane here, you have to pop the curb on the left-hand side and not over-rotate the car too much. This is coming into the chicane, so right and then left, you're on board with Dave Marshall in P2. Del Olmo is into the Joker lap, so Kylian Del Olmo, this then for the win. Dave Marshall on the inside line is already Joker, but Del Olmo is clearly in front, so Kylian Del Olmo comes through with a last lap Joker, going to take the checker flag. That's 2 wins for Del Olmo, great start for him. Dave Marshall has disappeared from our timing screens. Whereabouts is he? He's dropped down to 6th with a DNF, so as Dave Marshall had a technical issue there, or was it a 15-second penalty? We're saying wreck the car, Dave. Okay, right, Dave. A round of applause for Dave. He's still smiling. He wrecked the car from P2. Unlucky. One of our competitors over here still smiling despite the fact Dave there was in line for a P2 and unfortunately has dropped back. But Kylian Del Olmo with a second win. That is an absolutely outstanding performance. Katie's over there now with Kylian and Quinton, who will translate for us again. Katie.
Yeah, that was absolutely incredible, shaking with adrenaline. Maybe you can translate the wet conditions and the late Joker lap. He was lucky or it was tactics?
Honestly, maybe lucky with the tactic of the other player who take the Joker when he was first. But he did an amazing start, and we know after that on the weights he's really fast. So with this help of the other driver, he can put some really time and take the Joker on the last lap safely.
Perfect. Well, good luck for the next one. Let's see what we've got.
Well, what we've got is a track change. We are heading to Hell in Norway. So the Lankabanen, which is up near Trondheim. You can fly there directly from Gatwick, actually, if you're interested.
Really? Fly to Hell.
Yes, you can, yeah, straight to Hell.
One-way ticket.
It's genuinely called Hell. There are actually some really old pictures. There's a beautiful train station there with Hell written on it. It's a tiny little station with a tiny little platform, but it's just outside Trondheim, I say. And everyone always thinks it's hilarious that that's what it's called. There's millions of photos. We've done stuff on the telly with people dressed as the devil and all sorts of stuff. So we have a good time in Hell as a general rule.
Where's your favourite place to go to on the calendar?
You're going to throw me under the bus here, aren't you? Make me have a favourite. Probably still Hollius, which is the Swedish track, which is famous for the Magic Weekend. We always have. There's just an incredible atmosphere there. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's a town where about 300 people live, and for a week, 30,000 Scandinavians turn up. And I'm not going to lie, they party hard. Like they through the whole. Sometimes they even go and watch the racing, but a lot of the time it takes a while for them to appear. They're sitting in paddling pools and stuff. It doesn't matter what the weather is. They're there. They take. I went on a bendy bus once. They had a bar in the front. It was from the airport. I guess they didn't steal it, but it was a bendy bus. There was a bar in the front and bunk beds in the back.
Oh wow!
Oh, it's mega! Like you've got. So there you go. You've got to come to Hollius. That's top tip. But to be honest, they've all got great character. Now, Hell, the character of Hell is this track is super steep, up and downhill.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, again, with motorsport, you know, when you watch a track on the telly and it never looks as steep as when you go there. Spa, Brands Hatch, perfect examples of that.
Yeah, we're driving it on the game. It's when you come out of that left-hand hairpin, the undulation changes. Sometimes it's a flat-out right-hander, but sometimes it's easy to run off there. So you've got the jump as well, I think it is, coming on to the start-finish
over the start-finish line,
It was my favourite track, actually, of all the Rallycross. So, yeah. Brilliant stuff. If you like what you're seeing and you think, you know what, I actually want to have a little go myself and get myself a rig, Thrustmaster, who are providing some of the equipment for us, actually are doing an offer between the 9th to the 14th of January. So you've gone until the 14th of January to use that. You can get all the things you're seeing on screen there. You can get 10% off that at box.co.uk. And I think it's fair to say the equipment they've given to us, all the drivers have only said good things about it. So do go and head to that website, box.co.uk, until the 14th of January with that code at the bottom, and you can get yourself some Thrustmaster equipment to get you started.
Here we go then, a look at the Lankabanen in Hell. So close to Trondheim, literally 5 kilometres from the airport to the track. It's super steep. It's got a first corner joker. And this time on the front row, we've got Daniel Johansson and Dorian Baptiste. Dorian Baptiste in the pole, Daniel Johansson next to him. Then it's Dave Marshall and Lucas Mattia, Kilian Del Olmo and Alexander Hus. So Kilian Del Olmo has taken 2 wins so far, one from the front row and one from the back. What can he do here? And how is that first corner joker going to split the field?
Well, it's going to be very interesting. It's good to have the 2 races, I think, on each track. It gives them a fair shot towards the front of the grid and towards the back as well. But yeah, at Hell, it's going to be definitely an interesting race. There are some good overtaking opportunities there. There's that run through the right-hander down to the right-hand hairpin, the tight left as well, and the joker's in quite an interesting place too. So I think we could see a lot of overtaking here, as long as the drivers can keep themselves out of trouble.
Now we're seeing for this one wet conditions, but with no rain, so the track will be wet, but they're not going to have that heavy rain, so visibility a little bit better, and that makes a big difference. Yeah,
it can get very tough at places around Hell, though. When they come out of that right-hand hairpin, it can be almost impossible to see where you're going at times. That's probably one of the most challenging things I found about Rallycross when I started playing on the dirt game. It's you can't see where you're going at all. So
no,
sometimes that's why I would take the joker lap first thing, so you can actually see where you're going.
Yeah, and that can make a big difference in terms of conditions. You sometimes take the joker to find some visibility. You desperately want that whole shot. That was Alexander Hus who was showing us how the Thrustmaster handbrake works. I know that some of the drivers are using the handbrake for the launch, and some of them are using the button on the steering wheel. Some of them feeling the reaction time is slightly different between the two, which is fair enough. That just the level of detail into which these guys go to try and find an advantage is incredible, Chris.
Yeah, I think I'd prefer to use the big handbrake stick, but we're on the grid now. It's going to be race number 3 at Hell.
Dorian Baptiste on the inside, Daniel Johansson on the outside. Ready to race, light comes on. Look for the green at the top in the middle of the gantry. It's a fair old hold. We go on board with Kilian Del Olmo straight from the back of the grid, moves across to the inside. It's Johansson who's got a better start, shuts the door, contact with Baptiste. Baptiste over the curbs on the inside. Daniel Johansson runs a little bit wide. Kilian Del Olmo looking for a gap up the inside as they head down towards turn 2. Sideways, it looks to me like Dorian Baptiste has managed to get the whole shot. We're with Alexander Hus. And Hus, Dave Marshall and Lucas Mattia have all gone joker on the first lap. Dorian Johansson trying to muscle his way past again Kilian Del Olmo, but this has allowed Dorian Baptiste into the lead.
Yeah, Dorian Baptiste doing well there to get himself into the lead, but I think the favourite for this one at the moment has to be Alexandre Hus. I think he made the right decision taking that joker first lap. The top 3 have been battling away, banging door handles, and as a result, Alexandre Hus is only 1.5 seconds behind. More contact, Del Olmo and Baptiste coming together.
Yeah, Del Olmo's taken the lead, but only after contact with Baptiste in the first corner. It looked pretty fair to me, but these guys are losing time. Alexandre Hus is 2.0 behind already. Looking at the split times on the right-hand side. Let's see where Hus is. More contact, 1.4. They've lost a further 0.6 of a second. So Alexander Hus, you can see him now. He's on the back of this pack in the blue Peugeot 208. WRX is on the back of the pack. Contact again, the leaders run wide. That's between Baptiste in the yellow car, Johansson in the green. This is killing them.
Yeah, it's Alexandre Huss is going to be loving what he's seeing there in 4th place to top 3. It's brilliant to watch, don't get me wrong, but yeah, I think that was Dorian Baptiste just deciding enough is enough and takes the Joker.
Run wide, ran up the gravel bank on the inside, and then Dal Olmo has managed to get through, but Johansson is giving a hard time in the run down towards the corner at the bottom of the hill, so sideways into there, a little bit of handbrake, a lot of handbrake from, I think it was Alexandre Huss, who's in P3, and Lucas Mathias alongside him. Mathias trying to make a pass on Alexandre Huss on the run up the hill. Huss is just about holding on. Huge amount of pressure in this one.
Yeah, I think Lucas Mathias needs to be patient here. The 2 drivers ahead, of course, are going to go into the Joker when they come across the line. Then it's going to be a battle for the lead. So Alexandre Huss and Lucas Mathias need to stay close.
1.5 seconds on board with Alexandre Huss, going to try and shut the door on the inside. Has anyone made it out the Joker merge in time? They haven't, so it's Huss who's got the whole... And P2 is Dal Olmo, so contact again between the drivers in the rear of the pack. Dal Olmo has made it up and he's there again. He's not going to take the win unless Huss makes a mistake, but P2, this is a fantastic performance from the Frenchman in pod number 1.
Yeah, he's already a huge amount of points clear after 2 races, and this is just going to put him even further ahead. Alexandre Huss doing a great job out front, but it's still all kicking off for 3rd.
Huss has taken the win, then Dal Olmo's going to come up and take P2, almost a spin, and in P3 Lucas Mathias crosses the line. Look at that, couldn't be closer. Yeah, nice round of applause from the arena. 3.4 seconds across the top 3 there, could not be closer, and in fact looking towards the back of the pack there was 0.8 of a second look between P4, 5 and 6, so it was Mathias, Johansson, Baptiste and Marshall. Huss though taking his first win of the campaign, and a P2 for Kylian Dal Olmo. Kylian, P2 from the back row, a win from the back row on the previous run. Incredible performance.
He's on absolute fire at the moment, but of course this is just about qualifying for that last race. The last race, it's going to be an all or nothing situation, but he's doing a brilliant job so far, and it's just settled the nerves, isn't it? Winning that first race, we talked about it pre-race. If you can win that first race, settle your nerves, your confidence just shoots through the roof.
Yeah, so a big advantage at the minute for Kylian Dal Olmo, but fighting back Alexandre Huss, who takes the win in race 3, the first race from hell. Over to Katie.
Yeah, from the last place on the grid to the first place over the finish line, that was true determination from Alexandre Huss today.
Yeah, he didn't.
I take the Jokers in the first lap, and I think I win with this, and I can finish first.
So clean racing really won it there. Strong from this team over here, the eSport team. Let's see what they've got for the 4th race.
So saying what we were saying basically is that first lap Joker was absolutely crucial because the leaders just got stuck into each other. They lost too much time.
Well, it's one of those things, you wonder if they have that planned pre-race or if it's something that they just have to judge when they come off the line. I'm not too sure from your experience in the doing the Rallycross Championship what that is.
Well, Tanner Faust always has a great quote, which is, he says it's all very good to have a plan until you get to turn 1. And I think it was a Muhammad Ali quote originally. He said then you get punched in the face and it all goes out the window. So they do plan. You have a tactic, I think, based on what the best possible outcome is. Is it likely to take the win from the Joker? You know, particularly when you've got a first corner Joker, you may have more tactics than if you don't. But as we saw there, it all goes out the window when you get contact with guys behind you.
Yeah, it's just those decisions in Rallycross. I think that's the difference and the uniqueness that Rallycross has with that Joker. It's a decision you make from taking a longer lap can win you a race in the end, which when you say that to someone sounds a bit bizarre, but that is what it is.
Yeah, exactly. If you're not familiar with Rallycross, you know, think of the Joker lap as our pit stop from F1. You take it to get out of traffic and to get back into traffic. It's just that the races are a bit shorter and you've got to make those decisions in very short periods of time. Let's take a look at the points as we reach the halfway stage of the qualifying for the DiRT Rally 2.0 World Series Rallycross portion of the event. At the moment, taking the TQ spot is Kylian Dal Olmo over in pod number 1. Second is Alexandre Huss, who is in pod number 2. Daniel Johansson, who is just to our left here, pod number 4, is in P3. Lucas Mathias, who's on the far end of the stage, is in P5. Dave Marshall in, P5, and Dorian Baptiste in P6. So still pretty close between them, but I think a clear advantage for the top 3 at the moment.
It's that battle for 3rd, isn't it, as well, with Mathias involved in that, and also Daniel Johansson as well. Only 1 point between them. I think they'll be trying to get that inside line for Lydden Hill. Of course, if you can get on that inside, it could effectively be second place for turn one, can't it?
I think it's interesting to note, though, that with a first corner joker and looking at what's just happened here in Norway, you know, anything can happen. And these guys, they're all going to make it through to the final. Yes, they'd like to get the TQ because that gives you your best odds, but Kilian's proved you don't need to be on the front row to take the win. So we're going to get race 4 underway. Hell in Norway again. Alexander Hust this time. The winner last time is on pole for this one with Kilian Del Olmo next to him. So the top 2 in the standings going to be racing it out to try and wrestle away that TQ from each other. Lucas Mattia and Dave Marshall, P3 and P4. Daniel Johansson in P5. Dorian Baptiste in P6 for this one. So what's the weather doing? Okay, full rain. So if you watched Norway this year, we had a dry weekend right the way through until the break before the semi-finals. Literally, we were walking back from the track, and it rained so hard we hid under a lorry like that. We were in hell and the heavens opened. It was incredible. Standing water in turn 1, very, very difficult conditions indeed. So these guys are up against it here, Chris. You know, you're going to see mistakes, but this is an opportunity too to get a good result.
I mean, we almost saw people spinning through the hairpin on that last one, perhaps just pulling the handbrake a little bit too hard. But we also saw the 3 drivers on the back 3 positions go straight into the joker. And I think with the visibility going to be as bad as it is, I wouldn't be surprised if we see that again.
Okay, coming up then, race number 4. Remember, the points total from our 6 races will take us through to our final at Lydden Hill. Drivers trying to stay relaxed, especially when we're poking a camera in their face. Yeah, that's the job, though. We've got to get in there and have a look. They've got their headphones on, of course, so they're pretty much immersed in the games. Well, Dave Marshall's got his off over the. Yeah, Dave's chilling. He's all right. He's over there.
Enjoys to hear his name a few times.
Yeah, do you know what? It's nice to see. Obviously, this is what we call a land final in esports, isn't it, Chris? As in the drivers are here at a venue and we're with them.
Well, of course, they used to racing at home where they've got their pod set up and they'll do a live event there. They'll know that people are potentially watching on a live stream, but it's different to when you're on a stage, you know, at the Autosport, the biggest motorsport convention in the world.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people here. Sunday's probably the busiest day at the show. We've got probably the biggest setup here at the show this year.
Definitely,
so
yeah, this is the biggest stand. Yeah, motorsport games over here. You can go and try the various different titles which are involved, you know.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, you can actually go and have a go at DiRT just behind us in the activation area. So if you fancy a go on any of the tracks you've seen, you can head over there and have a go yourself.
And have a crack at it, yeah. and if not, you can download it, of course, online. I think there's still a free trial going on. Go and check the social media accounts for DiRT Rally at DiRT Game mostly. You can get them across Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, and go and have a go at the game yourselves. It's absolutely fantastic. It's got a really good gravel handling model, which I think is extremely hard to achieve. Here we go then on the front row, over on the right hand side, Dave Marshall. We're on board with Kilian Del Olmo, are we? Kilian drops back, so Kilian does drop back. No, and straight into the hole shot, as I've said that, and he chooses to go joker immediately. So a brilliant start. Kilian Del Olmo from the hole shot goes straight to the joker lap. 4 cars have gone joker on the first lap, Chris, and there's Kilian again at the front of them. He's now got to chase down those 2 in front. If I were Hust or Johansson, I would be considering joking on the next lap.
Well, Lucas Mattia has just run off there, unfortunately. He's in the battle for 3rd at the moment as well in terms of the grid position for the final. But I think Alexander Hust did the right thing in staying out there. Daniel Johansson probably made a last-minute decision to stay out with him. But Kilian Del Olmo, yet again, in a very good position. He's in the first of the drivers to have taken the joker, and now he's 1.8 seconds behind Daniel Johansson.
So 2.8 off the lead, 1.8 behind Johansson, as Chris said. This is where you would like a proper spotter. So Alexander Hust, yes, he can glance up at the top right, but you know well from playing the games yourself, when you're at the level these guys are at, they're nipping the handbrake, there's tiny little movements going on. They don't have time to refer to exactly what the split is. They're too busy driving the car on the limit. I
think the hardest thing about Rallycross is you don't get a break at all. I don't know any circuits where you get a break at all.
There aren't any. Yeah, Canada maybe.
Even in a straight, you're probably a little bit sideways all the time, and you've got big jumps like this to just make it that little bit harder. So that's the hardest thing, and trying to concentrate on what else is going on as well as trying to keep the car in a straight line is hugely challenging.
Del Olmo is closing the gap down on Johansson. As you can see, he's just 0.7 of a second behind. The gap now for Hust has gone up to 1.6. So This again is for me where I think if I was one of those lead 2 drivers, I probably would have responded to Del Olmo. You know he's fast, you know he's gone Joker, you go Joker on lap 2 and cover him off. They've chosen to stay out front, Chris. They must feel they've got the pace, but at the minute Del Olmo is chasing Johansson down, and a mistake now from Johansson, who we ride on board with. I suspect Del Olmo's going to be right underneath him. He is 0.3 of a second off the back now. Del Olmo's piling the pressure on. Huss into the Joker lap. That's pretty much a perfect Solberg-style Joker. He's going to come out. Where's Del Olmo? Del Olmo's in the lead. Del Olmo has got Alexander Huss. Alexander Huss coming out of the merge. A ripple of applause from the crowd, and rightly so. Couldn't be closer. Huss rotates the car on the inside, cuts across the gravel. Got to be careful the game doesn't penalise him seconds for that. Up towards the last 2 corners. An incredible performance. Del Olmo has managed to be close enough, and when the Joker laps have played out, it's Del Olmo and Huss who are going to take P1 and P2. Johansson crosses the line in 3rd. Applause from the crowd for a great race. That was close.
I think Huss will learn from that. I think you're exactly right. Could have taken that should have probably gone Joker on the 2nd lap. Whether he noticed what was going on, I'm not too sure, but I think that's something he'll learn, and I think that's something we'll see drivers doing in the final.
And that's the problem, is you need to be able to respond, and if you can't do that because you don't know where the other drivers are, this is where I keep saying it. I'm sure someone's going to go earpiece and spot it, like a dude at the back, just watching and saying, "Go Joker now." You need that, and actually that could bring another dimension to esports entirely. If we end up with spotters who are watching the game and trying to tell these guys when to go.
I mean, I think that would be brilliant. To bring the spotters in. It's what they have, on track in the World Rallycross Championship. I think would add an extra element to it, and it would involve more people into the game as well. So
smiles over here between Dorian Baptiste and Alexander Huss, just looking at each other and a cheeky little grin. I think they're enjoying the racing. But Katie is over with Kilian Del Olmo and his brother Quinton, and another win for Kilian. Fantastic performance.
Yeah, so right place, right time with the way that those Joker laps played out. 3 wins now. Is he feeling confident to take the pole for Lydden?
Est-ce que tu es confiant du coup pour là ça fait 3 victoires en partant 2e la victoire, est-ce que tu es confiant pour garder la pole?
Confiant, je suis plus rassuré que confiant, mais on va essayer de finir comme ça jusqu'à la fin.
So he is not really confident because as we know the final rules depend of the start and contact, but he's feel confident with his speed and the stress on the race because one more time it was a good strategy and he can win 3 wins like you said, so he's pretty good.
Good strategy and definitely got the pace, so keep it up. Let's see what race 5 has got for us, Andrew.
So we're changing venues again. We've been to Norway and we've been to South Africa. We're heading now to one new track, one old track, back to a new track. So Yas Marina, Abu Dhabi. Again, if you watched last season, we had 2 big incidents with 2 drivers. It was Baccarat and it was Hansen. One of them was in round 1 and one of them was in round 10. So that contact at Abu Dhabi in the first round put those 2 guys on the back foot for the whole season. And yet still it was them that were fighting for the World Championship.
It was where the Joker was as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There was a huge collision there.
Massive.
One came out the Joker and the other one was sliding in. I looked at the track, I have to be honest, and thought, why did they put the Joker there? Like it really does not make sense to me at all. Even when I was watching the guys practice yesterday, there was still nearly incidents while they were just practicing. So yeah, it doesn't really make sense, but I'm not going to complain as a neutral.
I mean, it made for some great racing. Obviously, we don't really want to see that kind of contact. Now, Baccarat said that he'd miscounted the laps, and Hansen, of course, was turning in Baccarat into the side of him because on the last lap they were allowed to go straight on across the finish line, which is why it was placed where it was. So we were hoping it was some great racing to the end. But I suspect the finish line might get moved there. We'll see for this year. Of course, it's moved to late in the season, Abu Dhabi for 2020. Now, we've got the standings for you after race number 4. Let's have a look at the minute. Kilian Del Olmo with a 15-point lead in the intermediate standings over Alexander Huss. Daniel Johansson in P3, but Lucas Mattia is within striking distance, as are Dorian Baptiste and Dave Marshall. So actually, P2 down to P4 is completely up for grabs in these 2 races in Abu Dhabi. But at the minute, Kilian Del Olmo and Alexander Huss looking on for that front row start, and that's going to give one of them the option to go Joker and one the option to go standard lap when we have the final at Lydden Hill. But anything can happen, and we've got 2 races still to go from Yas Marina in Abu Dhabi. So I'm kind of hoping we're nearly ready to go. Drivers will have changed their settings again. Chris, it was interesting to me talking to them this morning. They have a kind of a baseline setup which works in most places, and then they tweak it a bit depending on where they're going and what the weather is.
Yeah, they'll practice in every condition multiple times, and they'll just change the setup. They'll maybe even try something they think could be wrong, but that the game might make it work. So yeah, I mean, I just go online and just find a setup when I do it. There's someone out there who might even be some of these guys that put setups online. And
I was
standing
behind Killian earlier, trying desperately to look at his settings on his iPhone. He did some interesting things. I'm not going to blow it for him now because the other drivers are here listening. But yeah, he did some stuff with the setup that I would never have tried. So, but as we said earlier, these teams, they're sweeping the settings. So you've got 4 or 5 drivers in an esports team. You might wonder why they've got that. You know, each driver focuses on a different track, say with the same car in the same conditions, and they'll try and dial that car in for the different tracks, swap setups, and then they could do it again. So if you're part of one of these teams, just like if you're part of a real motorsport team, you've got engineers behind you looking at aero, looking at suspension settings, and saying this is how I want it to be. They're using, the guys who are racing in these, some of them are using real engineers to set the cars up.
Yeah, I think every driver has their own sort of track specialist. Every team, sorry, you know, you're going to have a track that you like the most, and that's the beauty of having 4 in a team. You know, there's 4 different tracks here. They could have all gone on one each and practiced and found the right setup.
So we've got our track intro ready for you for Yas Marina, Abu Dhabi. There it is. It's down in the stadium section of the F1 track. Turn 1 and turn 2, we've seen a bit of carnage there. We saw Rainis Nitish, of course, launch his car onto Anton Markland's roof earlier in the season. The curbs here are extremely harsh. It's a tricky chicane on the back straight as well. Now, we know that the fight for P2 on the grid is super close between Baptiste, Johansson, Marshall and Mattia. And at the minute, Marshall and Mattia, look, are on the front row. Those guys are pretty close on points, if not equal, I think, when we saw them. Our points tally here. 4 points in it. We've got Baptiste and Marshall, of course, who are equal. Del Olmo, look, is in P3. You can't bet against him and Alexander Huss. And then Baptiste and Johansson on row 3. So, Del Olmo, what can he do? Can he take another win? What are we on? 3 out of 4 and 1 win for Huss. So only French drivers have won so far. This whole side of the stage here is French, so they've got a strong presence in esports. I know that we're hoping for a strong result here as well. I'm looking across at our other drivers. They're just relaxed and ready to go, and we're just about ready to go as well. So dry conditions for this one in Abu Dhabi, as you might expect. I'm not sure we're going to see any rain in Abu Dhabi. What do you think?
No, I've never seen it rain there, but you never know what the game could throw up.
Well, we'll see, won't we? So this one's in the dry there. Here we go then, Abu Dhabi, Yas Marina. Race number 5, and this is going to get us somewhat closer to the points for top qualifiers as we head towards the final at Lydden Hill, where we're going to be crowning our champion. Trophies underneath the desk here. I could sneak off with those, but, you know, not so
I love it
far.
how you put it under the desk your side.
Right, on my side, yeah. Right, here we go then. Waiting for the green light, and on board it's another great start, but gets a squeeze. So Del Olmo gets a squeeze on board with Johansson now down in P4, maybe P5. Looks to the inside, trying to find a gap through sideways. It's Mattia who's got the lead. Del Olmo's dropping back P3 at the moment, but he's on the inside. Looking to make a move. I think it's Dave Marshall who's up the inside of him. On board now with Daniel Johansson looking across to the right-hand side. There's Marshall with the flag on the window. This chicane's super close. And it's Baptiste who gets pushed wide in the yellow 2-8. Contact on the inside. Baptiste is in the wall on the inside, so Baptiste may have to reverse out of that. Killian Del Olmo, P3, but it's Mattia who leads.
Yeah, things going from bad to worse for Dorian Baptiste. He's already down the back end of the grid in terms of the points for the final, so it's not going well for him. Dave Marshall would have been hoping to take advantage of his pole position, not been able to do that so far, but Mattia, Huss and Del Olmo, your top 3 on lap 2.
You're on board with Del Olmo now. He's 1.2 seconds off. They're using a lot of handbrake to get these cars rotating on the tarmac section. This next chicane is really tricky. Look at the pressure. Huss is piling it onto Mattia. Huss takes a look up the inside. You're on board now. You can see the battle for race for P1 out front. Del Olmo closing down again. Huss and Mattia holding each other up.
If I'm Del Olmo, I'm going to go Joker now. These guys are really holding each other up. It would be a good tactic for him now, I think, to take the Joker. He's quick enough probably to go by on raw pace, but it wouldn't be a bad tactic now, and I think that's Huss who's bailed out and gone into the Joker.
Yeah, so Huss then may have changed the mind of Del Olmo, and in fact that's given Del Olmo, hasn't it, a bit of track position. Huss has gone Joker, going to hope to merge in front of the other guys, coming out in front of Dave Marshall, so he is indeed, he's about 2.2 up in front of Dave Marshall. Killian Del Olmo now chasing down Lucas Mattia. So they've got a lap and a half to go. It's going to be about when they joke it. Killian's only 1 second off, but he's only 1.4 in front of Huss. Huss now going to chase Del Olmo down. Yeah, that's just a presence that Del Olmo is carrying already in this event. It's Huss looking in his mirrors, sees Del Olmo, thinks, I don't want anything to do with that. I'm going to bail out of it. But the fight could be between Del Olmo and Mattia, but Huss not too far behind. So this is going to be a close finish. Into the Joker lap went Del Olmo, I'm pretty sure. So coming out through now it is Killian Del Olmo's gone Joker on the second to last lap. So Del Olmo up the inside. Oh! He rolls! Del Olmo rolls in the chicane, lands back on his wheels. Oh, all the way over, back onto all four wheels. Incredible stuff. We saw that this year from all three of the Hyundais in real life, and now we've seen it here. Alexander Huss with the hero roll, landing back on his wheels and holding on to a decent position still, but that might well hand this one to Lucas Mattia, who's got to take the Joker on the last lap.
Yeah, this is going to be a very close finish between Mattia and Huss. I think Mattia will just have enough, but Delomo very, very lucky to get away with that one and land on all four wheels.
Oh, incredible scenes at Yas Marina. We saw it last year. Those curbs can be pretty unforgiving. Mattia comes around to take his first win of the final here. So Lucas Mattia takes the win from Alexandra Huss. Kylian Dall'Olmo holds on to P3 with a roll. So that is that the luck of a champion, or is that just a little bit of extra skill? That was a fair old off. Well done.
I think he'll claim he meant it.
Yeah, I'm sure. There they are. So, yeah, fantastic performance. I can see Katie is already over now with Lucas. Let's go and have a catch-up.
We saw some drama in this race. Obviously, there was a roll, but you managed to keep your cool. How does it feel?
It feels great. Finally, I won a race, but I'm struggling. Let's face it, I'm struggling big time, and when I'm struggling, I'm driving bad, you know. So it feels great to win.
And how are you feeling now, looking at the setup and your position going into the final? How do you think you'll sit on the grid?
After the win, I feel more confident, so anything can happen, so I hope for top 3 at least.
So push in this last race and see where you are.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, great win. He's shown pace throughout the final stages here, but hasn't managed to pull it off, and that time got it done, though, of course, helped a little bit by Dall'Olmo's roll.
It's interesting to hear as well, changing it. Probably would have come into this event really hoping to win it. I think all 6 of them will, but now he's sort of thinking, I'm just hoping for a top 3 really. So it's interesting to see how his approaches has changed and his expectations have changed for the event. Of course, there's money up for grabs for all of the top 3. Everyone walks away with something. Watches, of course, for everyone, but the top 3 all get money. And I think all of these guys just want to get into that top 3. But
$2,500 is not a bad payout, is it? But it's not fair to say a weekend's work, because of course these guys will have played hundreds of hours, and we mean what are top esports players? 12 hours a day, some of them, I understand.
Well, yeah, they've been qualifying for 3 months before the quarterfinals and semi-finals in December. Then they had to get through those, which was a brutal layout. You know, it was. Top 3, I think it was top 2, wasn't it?
Yeah, top 2 from each platform went through,
and then that was it. You were out. So it was a very brutal format. So to get where they are means that they can all keep their cool under pressure, and that they can turn it on when they need to. And that, I think, is going to be the interesting part going into the final. And
2 of our drivers have actually made it through to the final in Rallycross and Rally as well. So don't forget, you can join us this afternoon for Rally, which Chris and Katie will be commentating. And I'll say 2 of these guys have made it through to both of those finals. So they've got a chance to take a big paycheck home, or also to get a bit of a prize if it doesn't work out this time. We have 1 race left to go in the qualifying stages, the final race from Yas Marina in Abu Dhabi. Let's take a look at the standings as we go into that one. Kylian Dall'Olmo at the top of the table on 237. So Alexander Huss was 15 points behind. He's only 12 points behind now. Lucas Mattia, look, is into P3. Daniel Johansson, P4. Dave Marshall, P5. And Dorian Baptiste in P6. So there's 42 points spreading across them. But at the minute, I think Dall'Olmo, I'm trying to think how far back he'd have to be. I think he secured the TQ.
I think he has secured pole, because it would be on countback if he finished last. If
he retired, he'd get 0, wouldn't he? He'd have to be DQ'd. He could be DQ'd, but...
Well, yeah, I mean, if that happened, then maybe that changes. But if he finishes 6th and Huss wins, then it'll go to a tie-break. And, of course, Dall'Olmo's got the more wins.
Going to get it on the number of wins.
Yeah.
So we think Kylian Dall'Olmo's got the TQ tied up. It's going to be about who can get P2, who's going to be alongside him on the grid at Lydden Hill. 1 race left in qualifying. The pressure is mounting as we get towards the closing stages.
I think even Huss he secured 2nd, hasn't he? So that one is tied up as well. So I think the top 2 are basically tied up for this one. It's the battle further back between the likes of Mattia and Johansson, as well as Marshall and Baptiste as well. So it's a battle for row 3 and row 4, row 2 and row 3 positions. Sorry.
Yeah, all to play for. So 1 race left to go, and then we've got a 6-lap final from Lydden Hill. So we've had 4-lap races for these. Who's your money on at this point?
Well, it's hard to look past Dall'Olmo, isn't it? But it just shows that you can make one mistake. He rolled it in that last race, and that was kind of all on his own as well. So it's very easy to make a mistake and roll the car in Rallycross, or indeed go straight into a tyre barrier. So he secured pole position, but there's still a race to go at Lydden Hill. So
Yeah, okay.
I'd like to say you'd have to put your money on him. If I was going to put money on him, I'd have to say I was going to do it. So.
There's pressure, though, isn't there, too, that comes from being the favourite? You know, at this point, if you secure the TQ, you've nearly got the job done, and that's the point at which the pressure really mounts.
But it's not just that. We saw the presence that he carried. You know, it's forcing people to change their tactics to go into the Joker when maybe they think, you know, I'm going to take the fight to this guy, I'm going to defend from this guy and just go Joker when he does. So he's got that presence now on track, and it's making people do things they maybe wouldn't usually do.
Final grid for qualifying. Daniel Johansson on the front row with Dorian Baptiste. Alexandra Huss and Kilian Del Olmo, our top two at the moment, are on row 2, and then Lucas Mattia and Dave Marshall on row 3. This then the final race in the qualifying stages for the Dirt Rally 2.0 World Series Rallycross is Kilian Del Olmo. Kilian Del Olmo, we think, pretty much got it tied up. It's about whether or not anyone, I think in fact the top two, I think it's going to be him and Huss on the front row, so it's going to be about the battle definitely for third, isn't it? But one race left to go. I know we're just a matter of seconds away for these guys. Canter going on over that side for Dave. They're just trying to stay relaxed, particularly Kilian over on the far side of the stage. Just a reminder for you, it's Kilian Del Olmo, Alexandra Huss, Dorian Baptiste on this side of the stage, Daniel Johansson, Dave Marshall and Lucas Mattia on the other side. 3 Frenchmen over this side, then a Swede, a Brit and a Czech down this the right-hand side of the stage. I know you guys at home can't see that, but we've got a great big crowd here watching. Great to see you all at the Autosport Show. Thank you for coming along. We hope you're enjoying a bit of motorsport action during your day. I know that's why we're here, isn't it? So, right, we're good to go. Let's have a look. We can get down to the grid any second now. We can indeed. There is Kilian Del Olmo, who at the moment pretty much securing the TQ spot, and another great start by him. Going to try and go around the outside down to turn 1, but on the inside, Daniel Johansson in the green 2.8. Big set, Del Olmo around the outside on the handbrake. Just about holds on. Up into the air for Dorian Baptiste, almost does a Rainis Nittish, but it's Johansson who leads. Del Olmo looking up the inside of the run down to the back. Contact there between Huss and Dave Marshall. But out front, it's Johansson and Del Olmo who are fighting for the lead.
Yeah, Dave Marshall cutting the corner a little bit there. He could be under investigation for that, but that is the confidence Kilian Del Olmo has, going all the way around the outside, and he'd made that decision as soon as he got away from the line that he was going for the outside of round 4 drivers.
Oh, contact again on the inside. Looks like he might lose out here. Del Olmo is going to drop back. Another bit of contact. Does he go Joker? He does, but almost forced into that.
Yep, Dave Marshall forcing him into that. It's good to see Dave Marshall getting his elbows out. He's not had the best run of things today, a home event for him, but that was a great move from Dave Marshall.
This is the point, Chris, at which he can start to take some risks, and we've seen that particularly, of course, from Kilian Del Olmo going on the bar, round the outside in turn 1. Why not? He knows he's got the TQ. He might as well just send it and stick it in there. It's
a good experiment for him, isn't it? Just to see what he can do from the back. But it's just confidence. You'll break that a little bit later when you're leading an event, and you'll take that much more curb. You'll go that much more sideways, and that's what Kilian Del Olmo's doing. I don't know if we had a bit of an instant there.
Is there someone in part of the wall on the outside? I wasn't sure.
That caught me out as well. But
yeah, couldn't see from the dust, which is pretty standard with Rallycross. You ride on board with Kilian Del Olmo, the TQ man, is looking for a gap up front, runs it super close to the barrier on the inside. Johansson, Marshall and Baptiste in front. Del Olmo now being held up a little. He's 0.5 off, but he's only 1.8 off the lead. I actually think Del Olmo could be close enough already to take another win here.
I'd say he's in the provisional lead at the moment, unless he runs into Dorian Baptiste or has some problems there. But Johansson and Marshall are that close together. They're making slight bits of contact in places, and I think Del Olmo is your provisional leader.
Del Olmo's got the car straighter coming out of that chicane onto the back straight. You can see he's carrying more speed into this section. They're all on the handbrake through the long left-hander. These 3 in front have all got to go Joker. Does anybody go now? They do. So Daniel Johansson in the green car has gone, and I think Del Olmo's made a move up the inside on the brakes. He has. Can he make the pass into turn 1? Del Olmo, and he has maybe a little nudge from the rear there, but he's managed to get through on Dorian Baptiste. Fantastic move. Baptiste having a look back up the inside in the hairpin. Can't quite make it stick. He's just up the inside, but can't, and he gets the door closed now. Del Olmo takes the racing line up towards the chicane. Dave Marshall out front, but Dave hasn't taken his Joker. Del Olmo gets another nudge from the rear. Does he go sideways? He's just about holding on in the dust here at Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, we're on board now with Lucas Mattia, who's trying to battle away with Daniel Johansson. Of course, Dorian Baptiste in the yellow there is going to disappear into the Joker lap. There he goes, as does Dave Marshall as well in the blue. There we can see Dave Marshall as he comes across the line, and Kilian Del Olmo, another win.
Outstanding performance from Del Olmo. That is 4 wins from 6 during the qualifying stages. And that firmly makes him our favourite, making a few notes up here on stage. We had a win for Lucas Mattia as well, and of course a win for Alexandra Huss. But Kilian Del Olmo with 4 wins from 6 from different places on the grid. There he is at the far end of the stage. Katie's down there, and it'd be interesting to hear whether or not he's feeling confident, whether or not he's feeling the pressures going up or not. So I think we can head across and have a catch-up now with our top qualifier, Kylian Dall'Olmo.
Yeah, absolutely incredible racing here. 4 out of 6 wins from Kylian today. He didn't need that win, but he took it anyway.
Yeah, donc 4 victoires sur 6, excellent résultat, qu'est-ce que t'en penses?
C'est un bon résultat, 4 victoires sur 6, on prend la pole de la finale. Puis maintenant on va essayer de continuer sur la finale pour être devant.
Yeah, he's really happy with 4 victories on the 6 qualifying race, and now we'll start on pole on the final. Let's see what happens, but he's pretty confident.
And we can see he had a role in the race before, but it didn't unsettle his nerves at all. He's still cool, he's still confident. Is this him as a driver? Is this typical for him?
Kylian, donc là, tu es assez confiant pour la finale, tu as un bon rythme.
Oui, j'ai un bon rythme. Maintenant, on va essayer de reproduire ça sur Eden Hill, la finale. Puis on verra bien ce que ça donne.
Yeah, so now you will start on pole position. You have to make a good start and a good strategy on the joker lap. And if there are no contact and if all stay fair play, it can be a good result.
So we know Kylian's going to be on pole position going into the final, but let's find out what the rest of the grid looks like.
Thank you, Katie. Yeah, we're finished with the qualifying stage. We've got just one race left to go here. Birmingham in the UK at the Autosport Show. I think it's the most important motorsport show of the year, you know, right at the start of the year, and we're settling a World Championship straight away. World Series here for Dirt Rally 2.0. We've got Rally coming up later on this afternoon. If you guys want to watch at home, Chris, you'll be hosting that as well. But we've got the standings, so we're going to go to that. So let's take a look at the final standings as we go into the grand final at Lydden Hill. Kylian Dall'Olmo is the top qualifier. He will be on pole at Lydden on the right-hand side of the grid. Alexander Huss is in P2. Lucas Mattia will take P3 on the grid, row 2. Then Daniel Johansson alongside him on the outside. Dave Marshall, the Brit, will be on the inside of the back row, and Dorian Baptiste in P6. So that is the standings. Dall'Olmo is the TQ, Huss. And in fact, of course, the 3 guys who took the wins, Chris, are up there. 4 wins for Dall'Olmo, 1 for Huss and 1 for Mattia. Just those extra points crucial in edging them up the standings.
And I think it's important that they have proved to themselves that they can win a race, win a race in the World Series, final. So having that confidence and having that experience of winning a race today, going into the final, they'll think to themselves, you know, I can do this again. So that's going to give them that extra bit of confidence to take the fight to Dall'Olmo out front.
He's had brilliant starts, Dall'Olmo. I was watching earlier on, definitely starting in second. I actually saw some of the drivers in wet conditions were starting in third. We don't know what the conditions are yet for Lydden Hill, but it is the UK, so yes, I'd like to
take a guess.
I'd like to hazard a guess. Well, if you've ever been to Lydden Hill or indeed any race circuit in the UK, I'm sure you could hazard a guess at what the weather will be like. So it's going to be tricky for these guys. Well, what's the tactics now? You know, you can't just fire everyone off in the first corner because the stewards will get involved. You've got to win this fair and square, but if you're not on the TQ spot, surely it's just risk it. This is it now. $2,500 for the winner, $1,500 for P2, $1,000 for P3. I want a podium.
Yep, if you're starting on the outside of the front row like Huss is, just take the joker, go for it, just try something different, or stay with Dall'Olmo, and if he takes a joker, respond to him straight away. So you can either play Dall'Olmo at his own game throughout the race and copy exactly what he does, or you can go for something different. So I think we're going to see Huss and, of course, Dorian Baptiste maybe try, Lucas Mattia, maybe try one or the other. So yeah. It's hard to know which way they're going to go.
We'll find out shortly. We won't have to wait too long. First corner joker, the split here. If you're not familiar with Lydden Hill, there's Chesson's Drift, which is the long gravel right-hander off turn 1. It is possible to pull off around the outside there, but there's a strip of tarmac on the inside, which is right next to the tyre wall on the inside. Now, if you clip the tyre wall, you can spin or you can roll the car. But if you hook it up on that tarmac on the inside, you can fire yourself out of Chesson so much faster down towards Devil's Elbow that can be a real advantage too. But again, the round the outside is on that bar, get on the gas, send it round the outside. I hope someone tries it.
Yeah, just goes for it round the outside, just like we saw Dall'Olmo doing at Yas Marina there. He just fired one round the outside, had a lot of confidence doing it.
Brave.
I think he knew he was going to come out in first or second before he even made the move, and that's what you got to try. I hope it's a clean start, But
Me too.
I hope to see someone go for it.
I think the difference is last time, of course, he had TQ in the back. We knew that. He had TQ in the back, so he could take a risk because it didn't actually matter if it didn't come off. This time, if he takes a risk, he's had 6 races, he's had 4 wins. All that hard work out the window here if you take a risk and it doesn't come off.
Yeah, well, here's the difference. We haven't seen Delamo under any pressure, any substantial pressure yet, nor any of these drivers really. Those were just the heats, if you like. This is the final. This is the first time we're going to see them challenged under pressure. It's now all or nothing. So it's who can keep their cool, who can make the right decisions at the right time, and of course, who can stay out of trouble. Right.
So we've got the final coming up for you from Lydden Hill Circuit in the UK. We're in the UK. It's going to be raining. Shock horror. It's going to be wet conditions at Lydden Hill. I understand the track is full wet, but it won't be raining. So it's going to be as slippery as it can be for the drivers, but we're going to get great visibility. We can see a couple of people here just in their pods trying to chill, trying to get their heads in the right place. I have to say, Killian to me has seemed super chilled throughout.
Yeah, he seems to look like he gets himself fired up. Of course, when you watch the World Rallycross Championship, you don't see what the drivers are doing when they're sat in the car just before they're about to go, unless you get an onboard, of course. But why would you want to sit on an onboard while they're driving to the grid? So this is the only time we can see what the drivers are like when they're lining up on the grid, when they're getting themselves ready. Some stay very, very calm. Some look like they're trying to get themselves fired up as well. In pod number 3, Dorian Baptiste just having a bit of a moment with himself. So, they've all got different approaches to it, which is good. Really
taking a moment here to get fully focused. Driver in pod number 3, just having a full chill, trying to get a shot of it if we can. Some of our drivers got the headphones off, some headphones on. Dave's still looking pretty chilled. Right there, Dave. He's all right. He's all right. Good. Right. Here we go then. It's pretty much final time. I think we're out of chill mode now and we're into full focus. That's it. Stay confident, guys. And so a big round of applause for these guys. We're about to settle the World Series for Dirt Rally 2.0. Fantastic to have a crowd of people here watching these guys do battle. They've put so much effort in over the months and years they've been playing these games, professional esports athletes, and we're looking forward to seeing which one of them takes home the big check. Let's take a look at the circuit at Lydden Hill, down in Kent. Here we go, of course, the birthplace of Rallycross. Off turn 1, you can see the Joker lap goes around the outside, standard lap around the inside. It's gravel, then onto tarmac, down to Devil's Elbow. There are a couple of overtaking spots here, Devil's Elbow and the hairpin at the top of the hill, even if you're feeling brave on the run down into paddock. On the pole for the final of the World Series, Killian Del Olmo, 4 wins. Can he take the big check home? Alexander Huss with a win takes P2. He's on the outside. Lucas Mattia is in P3. Then we've got Daniel Johansson, Dave Marshall and Dorian Baptiste. Any of these guys could take it. This man is the favourite. Killian Del Olmo, the top qualifier, waiting for the green light to get things underway. It's a good start, not too much wheel spin from him. Are they going to split the grid immediately? They do. Huss goes straight into the Joker lap. Del Olmo down towards turn 1, going to try and find that tarmac on the inside. We saw Johansson ran wide immediately, so Johansson's run wide and lost a couple of places.
Yeah, Dave Marshall chucking one down the inside there in the blue, and he's gone straight up to 3rd place, so a good start from him. But
Johansson's recovered. Yeah, Johansson has recovered. Is that Dave Marshall alongside Johansson now on the run up the hill? I think it is. It's just a 1/10 of a second in between them. So Marshall looking to go the inside on the hairpin. Johansson's going to run wide as Marshall. Marshall's, yes, he's through. Dave Marshall through into P2. So Dave Marshall, the Brit racing at home, has gone into second, clips the barrier on the inside, runs a little bit wide. Johansson always getting through. Del Olmo, though, is getting away here.
Yeah, he's got a big gap already, hasn't he? But Dave Marshall trying to go with him, and Daniel Johansson straight into the Joker, so 3rd driver to go into the Joker.
The line that Del Olmo just took through turn 1 there, you can see him running the rear quarter of the car as close to that Armco barrier as you can. He's using every inch of the track. You're on board with Daniel Johansson, who's jokered. All the guys that could jokered on that one. Alexander Huss has dropped back to the back of the pack completely. We didn't see, maybe there was a mistake in the Joker.
Yeah, not too sure what happened there. Of course, we were with the guys that hadn't taken the Joker, but Del Olmo, he's got this one in the bag, really. 5.2 seconds the gap between him and Johansson, who's the first of the drivers not to take the Joker, so Del Olmo can almost drive at 90% now. He doesn't really need to take any unnecessary risks.
Dave Marshall did have a decent gap over Daniel Johansson. Let's see what it is now. He's still got a couple of seconds, 2.2. I might be tempted if I was Dave to try and stick the Joker in and maybe maybe hold on to that position. But Kylian Delorme, look at this, 2.2 seconds ahead of Dave Marshall now. Johansson 5.3. I think Dave's gapping Daniel slightly, potentially should go for a joke here and try and protect that position, Chris.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad shout. We saw drivers not doing that a little bit earlier in the event and paying the price for it. So Dave Marshall, I don't know if he's just enjoying that, having Kylian Delorme in his sights and having someone to chase, but Dave Marshall, I wonder if he'll go for that. This is Dorian Baptiste, who could be in a fight for a podium as well.
Backs it in, nudges the car down the tyre wall on the inside, trying to get it rotated, carry as much speed as he can. That chicane is fearsome in real life. It's pretty fearsome in the game as well. You've got to be committed if you want to get it right. There's the tarmac strip on the inside. Most of these guys, though, just trying to carry the speed around the outside.
Yeah, you've got to go for that tarmac on the inside. As you said, you can get a really good run through there. This is Daniel Johansson just ahead.
So Johansson now, I think, some 3 seconds off Marshall. And in fact, yeah, Johansson, this is the best time. If Dave Marshall could go for a joker lap now, he could definitely hold on to P2. Kylian Delorme has managed to extend the gap by another 0.3 of a second. So it was 2, then it was 2.5, it's 2.8 now. What's the gap back? Looks like 3.8 to Johansson. We're on board with Marshall. He doesn't go again, so Dave Marshall's holding on late, but of course he doesn't know how far back Johansson is unless he's able to look up the top right corner of the screen. I'd argue probably not.
I think he's just enjoying having Delorme ahead, and sometimes if you go for the joker a little bit early, it might put you off your rhythm a little bit. So some drivers probably enjoy doing it right at the end. Dave Marshall, if he has pressure from behind, he might fear of making a mistake.
This is a brilliant performance by Marshall. He's only dropped another 1/10 of a second from Kylian Delorme. We saw, of course, Dave was in P2 in one of the qualifying races earlier on, racing at home here, looking to retain a bit of honour for the UK fans here in GB. Daniel Johansson, how far back is he? Plus 3.9. So Dave Marshall does go joker this time, so has to. It's lap 6. Marshall goes in. Kylian Delorme going to come out and surely secure the win here, round the left-hander and through the right. Dave over the jump. Where's Daniel Johansson? Is he on the right? Or has Marshall got P2? Dave Marshall's going to hold on to P2. Great drive from the British driver. Mustn't drop it now. Half a lap to go.
Yeah, just got to try and keep it clean now. But Kylian Delorme, what can you say about him? Absolutely fantastic.
Incredible performance. 4 wins from 6 qualifying races. Even managed to survive a roll. It's Kylian Delorme comes down towards Paddock Bend into the right-hander, flicks the 208 sideways, and the Frenchman in pod number 1 is going to win the Dirt Rally 2.0 World Series. Fantastic performance, fist pumps from him over the line as he takes the win. Dave Marshall, I think, held on for P2. Brilliant performance by Dave Marshall. Relief and joy for Delorme. He is the World Series champion for Dirt Rally 2.0 Rallycross. Fantastic. What a drive.
Brilliant stuff from Kylian Delorme. He kept it under control throughout the heats, won plenty of those there, but that was perhaps his best performance of the day. The gap he had in the final, I never expected anyone to win by that margin.
Incredible. I think we should head straight over to Katie. Let's get some reaction now. Katie, you're with the winner, the world champion, Kylian Delorme, wins the World Series. Well done.
Absolutely incredible. How happy are you now?
Comment t'es maintenant?
Je suis vraiment super heureux, je réalise pas encore.
He was really happy and not considering that he is the world champion.
Absolutely, world champion. It was a complete masterclass from the beginning. You have the whole team here. How much does that mean to you to win like this?
T'as gagné la course, t'as tout gagné, t'as toute la team à côté de toi, comment tu te sens, est-ce que ça t'aide?
C'est vraiment super bien de gagner devant toute la team, j'ai un encouragement supérieur qui est toute la team présente, tous ceux qui sont sur le live, ça aide, c'est sûr.
He's really happy for his performance all the week and really happy to win for the team in front of all of his teammates. We work hard and he's really happy to win for SDL.
Incredible drive. Let's have a look at the rest of the standings while we get ready with the trophies.
Thank you, Katie. Fantastic performance. Kylian Delorme takes P1. He is your Dirt Rally 2.0 World Series champion with a brilliant clean drive. Dave Marshall, big round of applause, please, for the Brit who takes P2 after a tough qualifying. Dave gets second place. And Daniel Johansson, a cheer as well, please, for the Swede who takes third. 3 different nationalities on the podium here in the UK. A brilliant performance by all those guys. Some fantastic racing. In the end, not super close in the final, but I have to say Del Olmo has looked like the firm favourite from those. Once he got those 2 wins at the start, it's like, okay, this guy's he's on it.
Yeah, he's won from the front, he's won from the back, he's won from the middle, and got his tactics spot on there. Once he got in the lead, he was never going to be caught, I don't think. Once he had a gap of that much, he was never going to be caught. There was definitely something happened at the start with some of the other drivers towards the front, but of course we had Dave Marshall as well doing it. I think that move he made at the first corner really helped him to his podium, but he kept his cool under pressure as well.
Well, we can hear from Dave Marshall now, actually. So David's with Katie. Let's have a quick chat with our man in second place, first of all.
Yeah, so starting with second place, it's your home event. You're an individual here. You're not in a team. How does it feel?
That was unexpected. That's what I can say to that. If I'm honest, didn't really seem to have the pace all the way through the run-up. But that for last race just showed you had to have real composure. It was important not to get too early on the throttle and get the grip. And somehow managed to finish second.
Absolutely incredible. It just shows composure. Yeah, big cheer from the crowd here for you. Very popular driver. What can we expect from you next? What's going to happen? Will you be back next year?
I hope to get behind a real wheel, that's for sure. Plenty of opportunities here and keep on with sim racing, hopefully. And go from there. Maybe
awesome.
New dirt.
New dirt, awesome. Congratulations. Now we'll head over to P3. How does it feel to be here on the podium?
Surreal. I can't believe it. I didn't expect this. It's just unbelievable, really. Yeah.
And how was the last race for you?
Terrible. There's no grip. It's slippery, and I just hope that other guys were struggling too, and just try to keep focus.
But slippery, similar to the conditions in Sweden?
I don't know really. I have no experience in coming to real life though. But yeah, it's just slippery. It's just awful.
But that's the amazing thing about the game. You can get all this experience sitting at home with the esports. So awesome stuff. And now to our champion. It's sunk in a bit. Maybe we can have your brother in to help us with some translation. Just some final words to sum up how he feels.
Je réalise pas encore devenir champion du monde à l'âge de 16 ans. C'est vraiment impressionnant. Enfin, j'ai pas trop les mots.
He don't have a lot of words. He's not considering yet the fact that at 16 years old he's a world champion of dirt, and he's really happy. And he don't have a lot of words for the moment.
And what is next for him?
Quelle est la prochaine étape pour toi?
S'entraîner, devenir, essayer de pousser encore un peu plus mon niveau. Puis on essaiera de revenir pour le prochain championnat.
Keep working on the game and be ready for the next champ.
Awesome, some incredible racings here. We'll let these guys celebrate with their teams, with their families, and we'll head back to the studio to see the final results.
Katie, thank you very much. Great to hear from the top three there. Obviously, all really pleased with their results. A brilliant result. Johansson, really honest. I hated it. It was slippery. Yeah. But $1,000, that'll do.
Yeah, it's not bad, is it?
No.
To go home with. But that was the challenge of the final race. Wet conditions at Lydden Hill. It was never going to be easy, was it? But Killian Del Olmo got a good start and dealt with it the best, and that's why he's the deserved winner. But I think throughout the whole event, he's just been so consistent and drove like a champion the whole time.
Fantastic performance from him. Over on the main stage, if you're here at the Autosport Show, we've got Charles Leclerc will be on that main stage in Hall 1, which is just over in the corner over there at 12:30. So that is in around, let me get a clock up, around 12 minutes time. There you go. Later on today, if you'd like to join us from home at 2:30 UK time, so that's 3:30 Central European time, we will have the finals of Rally. You're very much looking forward to that, Chris.
Yeah, it's going to be it's a really good format as well that we've got as well, with a eliminator towards the end and the drivers going off one at a time. So it's going to be fantastic. So do make sure you tune in. We've got some fantastic stages as well. They're going to be challenged in all aspects.
Yeah, going to be mega. They're going to be using this kit again. So if you're interested in using the kit that the world champions are using here, you can head to box.co.uk with the promo code at the bottom there. You can see TMAuto10, and that will give you 10% off between the 9th and the 14th of January. If you'd like to get hold of the stuff that the pros are using, maybe that'll improve your lap times for next year. Maybe we'll see you here at the Autosport Show for the final. My thanks to Katie Marnis and Chris McCarthy. Chris, great job,
mate. Been a pleasure, Andrew.
Yeah, looking forward to the rally later on. So don't miss the rally broadcast. That'll be at 2:30. Thanks for watching if you're at home, and thank you to you guys here at the arena as well. We hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you soon.